Hi there, I'm Beth, and today I'm going to be jumping feet first into my comfort zone. I just love autumn and mushrooms, and I was commissioned a while ago to create a set of clothing for the littlest of Blythes, the Petite. The customer wanted it to be mushroom themed, so I was already excited about it. Today I'm getting started on this set and want to share my process with you. Although Petite Blythe clothes are small, they can be just as difficult as sewing for midi or neo. Their compact size does at least mean that knitting for them doesn't take too long. I'm starting this set with a teeny tiny cardigan. You might have seen me knitting a midi jumper before in a previous tutorial. The process for this is very similar, but with an open front. Once finished, I'll sew on some tiny little buttons. There, it's all finished. It's a lovely fit, and I'll be making a short-sleeved dress that can be layered underneath. I don't have many petite patterns in my collection, but I'll use this one to get me started. I'm tracing the template, but removing the sleeves. I'll line the bodice with a fine mesh fabric and flip it right side out. I check it against my little petite samedi marche. The fit is good, and will just need more detail before closing it up. I've hand sewn on a little lace, a red button, and now some peacoat braid to add detail to the bodice. Since my dress sides are already turned out, I use a ladder stitch to hand sew the sides closed. I just leave a little opening at the top for the skinny little arms to come through. That's the bodice done. Now it needs a skirt. Isn't this fabric lovely, by the way? I forgot to mention it. I bought it in Berlin. The skirt is simply a rectangle with a softly frayed hem, and I'm gathering the waist. I've sewn the skirt to the bodice and wrapped the skirt ends round so they're neat when turned out. I'll use a little hem tape to secure those ends, then add a snap fastening. I also added a pair of teeny tiny fabric mushrooms to the skirt. They're cut from my own custom fabric. Isn't that looking cute? I think it needs a little underskirt. I'll make one from this gorgeous green lace. I've gathered it into a neat elastic waist. This elastic opens to let you insert the fabric in the middle. It's just the right length to go under this dress too. Here's the outfit so far. But let's make her a proper mushroom hat next. I've crocheted a cute little hat here in red with a cream rim underneath to suggest the mushroom gills. I want to add more detail though, so we'll cut and add some little splotches of cream-coloured felt. Here they are attached. Isn't that cute? I made one like this for my midi Blythe a long while ago. She's looking pretty cosy, but she will need a warm coat if she's going to go travelling anywhere. Here I've traced that same basic top pattern from before and added some length and flare to it. If I use the open side as the front and fold back these corners, it starts to look like a coat. I'll make this from felt and will add on some extra details, like a collar, a pocket with a folded top, and for the sleeve cuffs, an extra band for definition. I'll stick to the classic mushroom colour theme with red felt, nice and soft. All my pieces are cut out and I'll stitch all this by hand. I'm adding my cuff straps and making sure they're slightly wider than the sleeve, so they're not stretched when it's curled round. The collar is attached here. I'll stick the rest of the collar down a little later, and here's the pocket. I glued the top, then stitched it onto the coat so it can be used. If you try this yourself, you could just whip stitch the coat sides and leave the stitching visible. Or you could sew it right sides in and carefully turn it out afterwards. Here's mine after being turned through. It was a little tricky because I hadn't fully glued my cuffs. I'll just add some button details before it's finished. There, some buttons in the front and a little strap and buttons at the back too. Do these clothes get cuter the smaller they are? Well, I'm adding one last thing. It wouldn't be a full set without shoes, and the petite feet might be minuscule, but it's not impossible to make shoes for them. I made a boot pattern to use with felt, and to help them stay on, I'll be attaching them to these little socks. I join the upper shoe at the back and use a wood dowel just to help hold on to it. I lay on the sole and will hand stitch around it to secure. Here that's attached, and next I'll be gluing the sock into the shoe. Once that's done, I'll add on the back of the boot, stitch it to the sole, then add some decorative shoelaces, tied in a tiny bow, and the knot will be glued shut. What do you think? Are these the tiniest shoes you can sew, do you think? I think they're adorable, and the petite feet will just slide into them. The long socks help hold them on really well. I've done this before with little Mary Jane shoes too. Well, here she is, fully kitted out in her custom mushroom outfit. I just adore a doll in lots of layers. I was so happy to see that her coat fit over the cardigan too. I think she looks so cozy. I must make another of these sets to keep for myself. Thank you to all my patrons, and welcome to our newest member, Linda. I really hope you all enjoyed this project. If you did, please leave a like and a comment on the video. Let me know what you thought of this petite mushroom set, and would you buy a set like this? Thank you all for watching, and take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye!